Hey, what is happening? Chris Martinez here, host of Operation Agency Freedom, your favorite podcast and the number one podcast in the universe. On this episode, I'm going to talk about something that people have been asking me about a lot. It's how do I know if I have the right people? Almost every agency struggles with this at some point in time. And as you grow and scale your agency, the people that you need are going to change. And so sometimes the people that helped you to get from 0 to 500,000 are not the same people that you're going to need to go from 500,000 to 1 million. But how in the world do you know if you have the right people? And especially when you're starting out or you're a little bit smaller, you have such an emotional connection to every single team member that you brought on, that could actually cloud your judgment. So what I'm going to talk about today is essentially how you can determine whether or not you have the right people. So if you're growing your agency, if this is a question that you've been asking yourself, do I have the right people? And if you essentially just want a framework to make sure that everybody is held accountable and that you can factually look at every team member and make sure that they are the person that you need to help get to you where you want to go next, definitely pay attention to this episode. And of course, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to my podcast, because that way you'll always be in the know and you'll know when the next episode comes out. And do me a favor, go to my website, go to the podcast page on dudeagency.io, because all of the show notes are going to be there. Anything that I mention, any links that I mention, that'll all be there. So with that being said, let's get this party started. All right. Very, very important topic. Kind of one of my new favorite topics in general is just, like how to manage team members, especially like remote team members. If you don't know already, I did write a book a couple of years ago called Never Wear Pants Again. And it essentially talks about the best practices for bringing on and building a remote team. You can get a free copy of it. I mean, first go to Amazon and buy it if you really want, but you can get a free copy of that. Just go to neverwearpantsagain.com. You can get a free PDF version of the book. So with that being said, let me just give you a little bit of history about me. Like, I've never been a great manager. I don't think I'm one of those like natural born leaders. I never had good role models for what leadership really is. I think that I formulated a lot of my perceptions of being a business owner, CEO, company leader. I think I kind of gathered that just from like watching TV, right? And typically on TV, the entrepreneurs are the bad guys, or they're the assholes, like the leaders, the bosses, the managers, they're all assholes, right? And completely incorrect depiction of how a true leader should act and perform. But luckily over time, I've got some really good mentorship. I learn and invest a lot of my time in leadership, specifically reading at least one leadership book a month, sometimes 4 or 5, because I feel like that is something that I personally need to work on, especially as the team continues to grow. And so, I'll just pick up a book. And if I pick up one little tip, then that can help me move the needle just a little bit more, move it 1 yard closer to the end zone. So with that being said, I don't know if that resonates with you. I know most of the agency owners that I meet, they really struggle with leadership too. But here's the reality is that the state of the business is a reflection of you. The business is a reflection of you, the owner. So if you want the business to transform, guess who else also has to transform? That person you look at in the mirror every single day. So getting back to our original topic, this all ties in together, right? It's how do we evaluate team members? How do we know that we have the right people on our team? Big question. Very, very important. Lots of agency owners, especially the ones that are growing and they're scaling and they're going from, they want to go from 500,000 to 1 million, 1 million to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5, right? 5 to 10. They're constantly questioning, do I have the right people? So I'm going to give you some tips on that. So the first one, and this is very, very important just across the board as an owner when you're making decisions. What you need to ask yourself is, am I evaluating this situation, in this instance, this person? Am I evaluating this person or this team or this group? Am I evaluating them based on feelings, or am I evaluating them based on facts? Now, we might be very emotional, right? Especially if this is somebody who started with you from day one. We might have an emotional connection to them. And sometimes those feelings can lie to you. They can lead you astray. They can alter your judgment of a specific person. So you need to ask yourself, do I have the facts about their performance. What do the numbers look like? If it's somebody who's on the production team, and we're time tracking, right? This is another reason why you need to be time tracking, because then it gives you facts. How long is it taking them to perform a specific task? How many of these tasks are they completing a month? You need to have the facts. If you're just evaluating people based on feelings, I guarantee you 100% that you will make a miscall on somebody. You will overestimate the value of somebody to the team, and you will underestimate the value of somebody else on the team. Ultimately, you'll keep promoting and praising somebody who's in the end going to be very toxic to the company, or you're going to let somebody go who could have been that rock star that pushes the company to the next phase. Very, very important. Number one is you have to be evaluating people based on the facts and not feelings. Your feelings can and will lie to you. All right. Second one, and this ties into the first one. Do you have job descriptions? So most of us think that we need a job description when we are doing the hiring, right? So you put a job post up and that's your job description. It extends beyond that. So once you hire somebody, you need a job description that explains what it is that is expected of that person on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually basis. Is that making sense? You need to list out, and you need to share this with them too. So I'm just going to read you really quickly what it says in our job description for a senior web designer. Okay. So this is somebody, not a developer, it's a designer. Essentially, it's a graphic designer. Positions, goals. Actually, let me take a step back. So, you know what? I'm going to share this with you. If you're watching the video, this is motivation to watch the video. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to walk through this together. Okay. So it says web design senior, general information, position title, web design senior, work area, department. What's the department that they operate in? Are they working on your internal marketing team, or are they working on the operations team fulfilling for clients? It's very important, because if you go through the facts and you say, hey, this person's taking longer, but they're spending 30 hours a week working on your own marketing stuff for the agency, guess what? You're not putting them in a position to succeed. Next one, it reports to. Who is their manager? I see this all the time where the candidate has like 5 different managers. It always reminds me of the movie Office Space. If you remember that movie where he's like, I have 8 different bosses. So that means every time I make a mistake, I have 8 different people telling me about it. There's a lot more to that scene. I love that movie. But anyways, how many people are they reporting to? Are you setting them up for failure because they're reporting to 18 different people? Or even 2? Like, they should have 1 direct report. Are they supervising anybody? Da, 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 da. So moving down, positions goal, execute and deliver advanced web and digital design solutions and diverse tools used for design and email marketing, taking into consideration the company's quality and technical standards, as well as being able to help their team with basic tasks related to development and able to hit deadlines, very important, and complete tasks within the assigned timeframes. Also fluent in written and verbal English with the ability to speak to clients if needed for design related tasks. So that's literally something you can copy and paste from your job description. So this is something that's unique, and I want you to pay attention to this. So we list out, it says key functions and responsibilities daily. Create web design mockups according to the ticketing system projects, 8 to 12 hours. Design ebooks up to 50 pages according to the ticketing system projects, 16 to 24 hours. Create interactive PDFs up to 25 pages according to the ticketing system projects, 8 to 16 hours. These are design time hours. So we give them a range because some projects are going to be a little bit more complex than others. But we literally list out how long it should take them to do these projects if they're a senior designer. You need to list this out. I cannot stress enough how important this is. It sets the standard for how that person is supposed to perform. It helps you and it helps them. The best people in your company are going to be asking for feedback. Hey, what can I do to improve? Hey, how did I do? Hey, what did the client think about this? Right? Your A players are actively coming to you and asking you for help. Show them what the standards are, what it takes to get to that next level. Now, if you're on the video, you can see I'm scrolling. We have a lot of other things. We have monthly goals, quarterly goals, semester, da, 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 da. I'm just going to skip down and we're going to talk about the hard skills. This is section 8. So in your mind, I just skipped down from section 2 down to section 8. Hard skills required in the level: Photoshop Advanced, Illustrator Advanced, InDesign Advanced, Figma Advanced, Adobe XD Advanced, Google Slides Advanced, Canva Advanced, Email Marketing Platform Basic, WordPress Basic, HTML Basic, CSS Basic, Builders, at least one Divi or Elementor Basic. Now, how many of you are like, man, are these the people that dude has? I want to hire one of them. Reach out to me. We have lots of these folks. But in relation to your job descriptions, you need to have it mapped out like this. You need to have it mapped out like this. It's so unbelievably important. This is how we start to gather the facts of what is required of that team member. When you pair this with time tracking and you start to run the reports of performance, now you have a factual understanding of how that team member is performing. Very, very important. So ultimately, if the team member is meeting the requirements in the job descriptions, then you know that you have the right person, or it's another sign that you have the right person. If the team member is not, then obviously you say, hey, this is what you're doing. What's going on? What do you need help with? How can we help you get to where you need to go? If you start shaking your finger at them and saying that you suck, guess what? That person's never going to perform and they're probably going to quit, and you're going to lose somebody who might just need a little direction. So once you give them that direction, the next thing is, are they correcting that behavior? If they're apathetic about it and they're just like, whatever, I'm doing the best that I can, or if they feel like these goals are unrealistic, meanwhile, other people are hitting them, you probably have the wrong person. That's definitely a sign. If they're not proactively correcting their behavior, if you're having to babysit them to correct their behavior, you probably don't have the right person. That's definitely something that you need to look at. How do they act? How do they respond when you show them empirically that they are not performing at the level that you expected? If they respond like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm having these problems at home. I don't understand this. Like if they're giving you explanations, not excuses, but they're also taking responsibility and saying, hey, this is what I'm willing to do to correct my behavior, and they follow through, then you've got a good person. I will say this, if they try and they still don't get it, unfortunately, you're going to have to let that person go. You don't have the right person. All right, I've got a couple more. The next question that you need to ask is, does the team member care about their teammates? And are they willing to sacrifice for the good of the team? This is a core value that we have internally. I'm willing to bet that this is important to you. You don't want a bunch of individualistic, selfish, narcissistic assholes running around your agency. I don't want those people even remotely close to my team. Unfortunately, I've hired those people in the past. Super, super toxic. So are they willing to sacrifice for the good of the team? Do they have good relationship with their team members? And this is another good one. Do they make the people around them better? Or do they create such a toxic environment where everybody's performance level drops? So this could be a good question to ask their other team members, right? If we're doing an evaluation, their manager, right? How does the manager perceive that individual? Let's get a good sense. Are they lifting people up? Are they bringing people down? Or is it neutral? So when we're evaluating leaders, right? So we have project managers, we call them pod leaders. One of the performance metrics is how many of their team members are advancing in their roles. How many juniors are going to seniors? How many seniors are going to dedicated roles, are becoming managers themselves? We look at that. It's really, really important. We want to make sure that those project managers are encouraging their team members and also giving them the tools so that those team members can grow and advance and get better positions and ultimately better salaries. So every quarter, it's very easy to measure this report. Hey, project manager, this person advanced, this person advanced. The standard was 2 a quarter. Great job. And they're performing even better, right? So if you hold those standards and you're checking in, that's a very, very easy way to measure whether that leader, that team leader, or that project manager is doing a good job of making people better. All right, next up, does the team member make your life easier or harder? And we've all been there. If you have team members, you've been there, I should say, where you're like, the thought of interacting with one of these individuals just makes your head hurt. Now, I've been in mastermind groups, and it's really funny because if I'm ever in a mastermind and somebody brings up, oh, this team member is doing X, Y, and Z, 99.999% of that time, that person gets fired, like right after the meeting. If the team member has gotten to a point where they're causing you that much aggravation and sometimes anxiety, it's probably not the right person. They should be making your life better. Everybody that you bring onto the team in some way should be making your life better. That's an easy one. That is a little bit on the feeling side, right? So you got to balance all the facts with the feelings. Sometimes maybe it's just a personality problem and you just need to put somebody in between you and that individual. Depending on the size of your team, if you've got 100 people like I do, if you've got 500 people, you don't need to be interacting with everybody on the team. You should have like one person who's communicating with you on a daily basis. All right. And then the final one is, does the team member fit within the budget? So I've talked about the importance of budgeting. I've talked about the importance of allocating a percentage of your revenue towards production labor and cost of goods, right? I've talked about having sales targets, churn rate goals, right? All of this is creating a budget for what you can spend on specific departments and specific people. So the final thing is, does the person fit within the budget? So let me give you a perfect example of things that are happening right now. People are getting recruited, and they're getting recruited by agencies that are willing to pay more money than you're paying now. So that team member will come back to you and they'll say, hey, this other company offered me $90,000 a year. You're paying me 75. Can you match it? And you might love that person. You might have raised them basically from straight out of college. They went from intern to junior, intern to part-time to junior to senior to manager. If it's not within the budget, you got to let them go. Now, ideally, you can find budget because you've done a really good job of managing your margins and you have a little bit of wiggle room, or you can get creative and you can say, hey, I can't do that now. Here's what I can do. And then every quarter, I'm going to give you a jump. And in a year, you'll actually be making more than 90 grand. I need you to do this X, Y, and Z though. This is how you're going to get to 120. I need you to fill this role and put it back on them. Like, these are creative solutions. But ultimately, if you'll never have the budget, you got to let them go. It'll be detrimental to you. You're ultimately making a bad financial decision to save somebody that you have an emotional connection to. Bottom line, if you don't have the budget, you have to let them go. And you can actually spin that to your benefit too. You know, like, I encourage you to maintain, let's just call it a friendship with the people that leave your agency on good terms. They could become your next referral source for other team members, right? The fact is, nobody's going to work for you forever. We talk about this openly in our company. We say, hey, we don't expect you guys to work for us forever. But I promise you, if you give us your best, we will turn you into somebody that everybody will want to have on their team. You'll have a lot more opportunities. And we're going to do everything we can to create opportunities for you here. We talk about it all the time. Like, hey, we have this opportunity open. Hey, if you learn this, this is what the market is looking for. It's on you. Learn those skills. We'll get you a much higher paying job. Those are like the philosophy, I should say, that you want to have, is that, like, we're going to make you the best designer, developer, project manager, account manager. We're going to make you the best account manager on earth. We're going to give you the tools to be successful. We're going to empower you to do all these amazing things. And while we want you to stay with us, ultimately, if you end up leaving and you leave on good terms, we're still going to be friends. It's not the end of the world. Just give us 110% while you're here. And I'm going to try and create an environment where you never want to go somewhere else, but I'm going to make you so good that everybody's going to want to hire you too. That's it. All right. So let's just review if you weren't taking notes. So the first thing that you got to do to make sure that you have right people is, one, determine whether or not you are evaluating these people based on facts or feelings. Feelings are shit. Feelings lie to you. You need to have facts. Second is, do you have the job descriptions? And are these people meeting the requirements that you have inside of the job descriptions? Time tracking, like hours, tracking hours and making sure they're hitting those objectives. Do they know the software that you've listed out? Also, looking at the facts, right? We're looking at the facts by doing that. Then if they're not hitting those marks, give them a plan, see if they're taking accountability, see how they respond and how they correct their own behavior. If they correct it, fantastic. We got a rock star. Right? It's very admirable when somebody gets knocked down and they pick themselves back up and fix the problem fast. You want lots of those people. You want that behavior, almost to the point where if somebody's never failed, it's almost worse than somebody who has failed. I think it probably is worse than somebody who has failed, but they found the courage to get up and start fighting and claw their way back. So if they're not correcting the behavior at the end of the day, not the right person. Next one is, do they care about their teammates? Do they sacrifice for the good of the team? And do they make everybody around them better? This is absolutely essential when it comes to managers. Easy metric, standardize, or you write out, hey, I expect 2 of your team members a month, a quarter, I should say, to get a promotion to a higher level or a new role, take on a new role. Next one is, do they make your life easier or harder? If you think about interacting with this individual, does it make your brain hurt, right? The next one and the final one is, do they fit within the budget? We got to stick to the budget. So that's it for today, guys. I shared a lot. Please, if you are just listening to this, make sure that you find the video and watch that part where I go through the job description. It's going to be eye-opening for you. We use these for every single team member that we have. That's why our team members are so amazing. That's why they advance within the company. That's why they're so happy. We have like the best employee retention in the country, and we have an amazing work environment. And I love coming to work every day. I love the people that I get the opportunity to serve as a leader and then ultimately help our clients grow. So have a great day. See you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you could share it with your friends, family, and basically anyone who will find the same value in this episode that you did. And to get the latest from me, then let's definitely connect on social media. You can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Dude Agency, or Instagram @dudeagency.io, or you can check us out on YouTube on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, you can always visit our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. You can also register for any live trainings that we have going on how to run a highly profitable agency. And of course, you can see how we help digital agencies with the people, the processes, and the education so that they can take on more projects and scale profitably. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.